Good evening, everyone, and welcome aboard. It's wonderful to have you here for this usual run around the globe with our traders, and it's called Weekly Sunday Market Update. Actually, it's called Sunday Market Update because we have a Sunday every week, don't we? It's a bit of superfluous there. Never mind. Look, I'm glad you could join us. As always, we will be trotting around the globe, but we might be a few troops short this week because there isn't a big event that Actions to Wealth is holding currently online, have been all weekend. If you're a part of that, you're probably not listening to me, but if you are not, then that will probably be the reason why we are short on troops. However, we will go through the normal procedure and start, as always, with the big picture. And for that purpose, let's go to New Zealand and say a very, very warm welcome to Julian. Hi, mate.
Hey, Geoff. How are you, man?
Yeah, not too dusty. How about yourself?
I'm okay. Still living in lockdown. So I don't know. We're like, yes, it is. We're at the end, near the end of the game here, and vaccinations are going up, and everybody's getting a bit frustrated. We all want to just get on it, but the case count still just keeps moving along in the high teens and low 20s every day, and it's really frustrating. We just can't seem to get it back into single figures where they know where everybody is. So fingers crossed it happens in the next few days. It's been 4 weeks now, and I totally understand what Ainslie is when she describes day 80 of lockdown as being quite painful. And I'm only on day 20.
Well, so, let's hope you don't get to day
28. So yeah,
sorted by then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
That seems to be affecting the Aussie dollar in particular. Of course, I'm talking currencies, and I won't delay you from your big picture stuff. But seems to. That wasn't a question.
Oh, I think I might have just lost you. You just froze out for a couple of minutes there. So
okay.
I'm just gonna move you guys around a little bit because I need to stand up. I've been talking for an hour, so I need to just stand up here.
You would have to fill your mouth full of marbles and put you underwater to stop you. So you've only got about another 8 minutes to go.
Cool.
What is happening around the place?
Right. So today I am going to share with you a couple of things. So number one, I think markets are pretty boring out there. Okay, so we saw the S&P. You guys saw the S&P trade off 4 days down. Okay, how exciting is that? Well, it's about as exciting as 1.5%. Well, that's nothing. That used to be a big morning, right? But now it's 4 days, right? So there's my overall thesis. If the S&P is still boring, then how can we hope to have a huge amount of interesting things happening on the other side of things? So what I'm going to do is today, I thought I would do a little bit of a deep dive special. And for those of you who just seen my macro show, I apologize because we're going to do a little bit of repetition here. But I'm just going to do a quick deep dive into the world of shipping. So everybody has heard about shipping costs going up, right? You guys have heard about this, okay? And what we need to do with the shipping is we need to try and understand why containers are costing 4 times as much, because one of the key drivers of inflation that we keep talking about is increasing costs. Why are costs going up, you say? Well, the costs are going up because the cost of shipping is going up. So then question 2 is, why is the cost of shipping going up? Right. So look, there are 4 key drivers behind the increase in shipping. Now, just to be different, I'm not going to look at number 1 first. I'm going straight to number 2. Number 2 is something that happened a little while ago. Okay, this is the change in the fuel to low sulfur fuel. So we got rid of the horrible bunker fuel and replaced it with a slightly less horrible low sulfur fuel. Still pretty horrible, but quite low sulfur. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that there's lots of boats and ships out there that can't run on the new fuel. Really hard. It's not like when you're driving a Ford Escort, you just put a little bit of something in the fuel tank and away you go, right? A little bit of additive and all of a sudden you're fine. With ships, apparently it's way more complicated. You have to try and replace the engine. Now, anybody who builds ships would know engines are quite big in ships, and so they can't really just take them out. So what they do is they scrap them, write them off, and then try and build some new ones. So all of that was going on before COVID hit. And I think the key thing about all of these changes that we're seeing here and the reasons why things have tightened so much is because it was happening pre-COVID. It just was under the surface. So think about it, an accident waiting to happen, a Minsky moment, you might say. And COVID was the last grain of sand on the sand pile creating the avalanche. So changing the fuel is one of the key factors. The second one is labor. Why is labor important? Well, look, guys, you need seamen to be and sailors to run ships. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, apparently there's about 50,000 sailors that rotate every month. Okay, 50,000 come off duty, 50,000 come on duty. That's about 600,000 worldwide, just roughly, of running all those ships which are keeping us all in our Christmas goodies and our teddy bears and cuddly things that we need to get from other countries, right, in time for Christmas. So what's the problem here? Well, the problem here is COVID again has struck again. So what's happened is some of those sailors are either stuck on ships, and by the way, they're only allowed to work for 11 months under national maritime rules out of that year. So what's happened, they've been stuck on ships and they've literally been timed out. So they then have to go home, but there's nobody to come in and replace them because you can't get hold of staff because they're stuck at home on isolation because COVID is so widespread. So here's the problem. There is a huge amount of inertia in terms of sailors being able to man the ships at the moment, let alone the fact that there's a whole wave of people retiring out of that industry right now, not being replaced because you had a bit of a bubble. And the same it is in quite a few infrastructure industries. Those guys who are really big in the 70s and 80s are now all retiring off, and that's creating a shortage of labor. Right? You guys know this because you see it everywhere. Every single country where you guys are situated, there is a shortage of staff in quite a few key industries. Okay, the third reason is pandemic has shut ports. Okay, key ports in China have been closed. Key ports in America have been closed, and that has made the queues longer outside both of them. So if the queues are longer, they're less inclined to swing by small places like New Zealand, for instance, and that then creates its own self-reinforcing set of shortages. Okay, the final reason is container relocation. Who knew? For every 100 containers that comes into the States, only 40 head back out again. So what does that mean? Somebody somewhere is collecting an awful lot of containers, but realistically, they're just stuck in the wrong place. And again, if ships decide to bypass certain ports because of COVID or because they don't want to go in there because they've only got a couple of containers and they can't be bothered this time, they'll go next time and drop it off at a big port. Why do you want to risk being quarantined for 2 weeks for 3 containers on your 20,000 container boat? You won't bother, right? So what'll happen is they're missing those. So there's a whole bunch of containers stuck here, they're stuck anywhere but where they ought to be. So what does this mean? When we look at the prices, let's look at what's happening. Let's look at what's happening, and we'll come back to look at what's going on in America. So here's the price changes that we've seen. This dotted line at the bottom is the average prices for the last 10 years. Okay, the 5 years, the average price of the last 5 years. This is what's been happening in the last 18 months. Crazy, eh? So this is the European route. This is the US route. $9,000, $12,000 when it used to cost $2,500. Okay, 5 times as much. Pretty heavy, eh? So this is the problem that we're seeing now. Okay, this is US dollars per 40-foot container. Okay, and I think these aren't actually not that high. Some of them are quite low. I think they're actually even higher than this. Okay, but what's been going on here? Okay, so to create all of this problem, all of these price pressures, what's been happening? Well, here's what's been happening. This is imports into the port of Los Angeles for the last January to May each year for the last 15 years. Pretty static, eh? Yeah, some ups and downs, some bigs, and there was 2008 GFC, there's the COVID, 10% down, but still pretty static, nothing special. Bang, here's 2021. I mean, like literally bang. This is like a 2x4 to the head, as the Americans would say, right? What's gone on here? We're 50% increase in volume. So it's not surprising there's boats waiting. It's not surprising you've got problems because your ports workers have got COVID. On top of that, somebody's telling you to do 50% the volume again that you normally do. Okay, crisis, chaos. Okay, this is the reason why all of these things are happening. Now, what's been happening recently is we've seen, and I keep talking about this, is the economic surprise indices around the world are starting to go below the balance line. Okay, so that means that economic surprises are now to the downside and are now negative. That means that the economy worldwide is starting to slow down. We've seen it in China. Let's go have a quick look at what's going on in China at the moment. This is retail sales in China. I don't see a roaring back for the economy over the past few years. Do you? This is what's happening to inflation in China. This is unreal, guys. Look, you take out food and tobacco, the big problem with the pig crisis and the chicken crisis in China, and look at what's going on to inflation. That's the zero line. Okay, no inflation. Okay, so China, Mexico, nowhere near back to where it was. This is Europe industrial production. There's COVID. There's now Germany down. Okay, big election going on there. I wonder, it's all about the economy, stupid, is the moment that's going on in Germany. Okay, so when you look at all of these things, what's going on? Okay, what's going on? The economies of the world are slowing down. So what does that mean for our imports? They're going to slow down. What does that also mean for the prices? These are going to come off. Okay, these are going to probably end up coming down a little bit as the market starts to normalize and people find the containers that they've all lost and they start to get reallocated once those volumes come down. Just to really keep on top of it, this is iron ore prices. Okay, iron ore prices were $220 2 months ago per ton. Now they're 130. Crazy, eh? Absolutely crazy. There's some really weird things happening out there. Do I think inflation is transitory? You guys know I do, because that's what I've been saying for such a long period of time. So let's keep an eye on everything. And as always, my friends, the 30-year bonds run the world, and look at what's been going on. They're still negative real yield, but are they going anywhere? Is this a bear market for bonds? Are they retesting the highs in yields? No, they're sitting there doing nothing. Why are bond yields still so low if we've got inflation? My suspicion is because the bond market knows it's transitory. That's it for me, guys. Geoff, back over to you.
Fascinating, and I can 100% rubber stamp what you're saying about the cost of containers out of China or out of anywhere else at the moment, because I'm an importer myself, not out of China, but I know quite a few business people who do just that, and they were telling me just 2 or 3 days ago that their price has gone up 16K Aussie, which is very much in line with what you were just talking about. So crazy price moves. Let's hope it stops here, right? Completely. All right, mate. You've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. It's now time for a cup of coffee. How's the price of coffee?
The price of coffee isn't doing an awful lot at the moment. I think it's still stuck at about 190 on the exchange. I did say, Guy, did I not say 18 months ago when I started talking about coffee, when it was trading at $100, that it was going to 250? Well, we haven't quite got to my target yet. I'm still bullish. Maybe one more leg to go. We need to do what I call a nat gas on it. For those of you that don't know what I mean, go and look at the price of nat gas over the course of the last 2 months. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe another leg up in coffee beckons. I think we need to see a bit more of a crisis, because lockdown doesn't help coffee importers, right? Because they don't sell much coffee. People make it at home, so they don't go out and buy them. So as a result of that, coffee imports will probably be a little lower at the moment. But wait till we come out of the lockdown and these cases fall back again. They're going to pick up again. Hey, Geoff, one quick thing on this, right? I was showing the guys earlier. Look at this for case counts. So I need to share my screen. Just give me 2 seconds here while I share my screen. This is how insane the world is, right? Italy, the focal point for COVID. The Delta effect. Okay, they've had it. It's going away. Probably because they've got so many people now either vaccinated or have got immunity. Look at the States. They're still learning. Can you believe that? I'm not sure that number's still real. 500,000 cases on Friday. That's insane, right?
And there'd be a fair few out yesterday, or is it still today? Yesterday. No, today. Yeah.
So no wonder Biden's getting concerned, right? He must have seen some of this coming. That is spiking. Okay, time to worry again about the States. Oh my God, are they going to lock down again? Who knows?
Who knows? Mate, have a great week. Thank you very much. We'll catch up with you next.
Cheers.